Who created Bitcoin? Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? That's a question and mystery that has yet to be answered, even though millions of people would like to know it. I have my suspects, which I've been detailing for some time. Could it be Elon Musk? Maybe. What about Sergey Nazarov, the founder of Chainlink? We'll find out in about 10 minutes, because it's time for chicocrypto. If we're going to talk about Satoshi in relation to Sergey Nazarov, we first have to start with smart contracts. Now, some of you might be like, hold up, Tyler, Bitcoin, of which Satoshi created, doesn't include smart contracts. Well, actually, the original Bitcoin client did. Satoshi built smart contract opcodes into the Bitcoin client, most of which were removed because they were thought to have compromised security. Satoshi even spoke about them in 2010 in a Bitcoin Talk forum. Satoshi said this: "Currently, receivers only accept two templates, direct payments and Bitcoin addresses. Future versions can add templates for more transaction types. The design supports a tremendous variety of possible transaction types that I designed years ago. Escrow transactions, bonded contracts, third-party arbitration, multi-party signatures, etc. If Bitcoin catches on in a big way, these are the things we'll want to explore in the future, but they all had to be designed at the beginning to make sure they would be possible later." Those new transaction types are actually smart contracts, and each of them were actually slated to be created by someone. I wonder who? Sergey Nazarov. Now, if you didn't know, Sergey is the owner of smartcontract.com, which today redirects to the Chainlink website. But if we use Wayback Machine to see what the website looked like back in 2015, we can see it was much different. Smartcontract.com back then was all about creating smart contracts on Bitcoin. And in Satoshi's Bitcoin Talk post about the new transaction types, he talks of escrow transactions and multi-party signatures. As we can see from smartcontract.com, Sergey was working on conditional Bitcoin escrow, which was a multi-signature escrow. Okay, well, Sergey just took Satoshi's ideas and he ran with them. That doesn't mean Sergey is Satoshi. Well, going back to the Bitcoin Talk forum, a Laszlo asked Satoshi how long he had been working on the design, and Satoshi responds, since 2007. Satoshi had been thinking about smart contracts being implemented into Bitcoin since 2007. So I wonder when smartcontract.com was registered by Sergey. Well, checking out who is, we can see smartcontract.com was registered on October 25th, 2008. And guess what? This was just 6 days before the Bitcoin white paper was released into the public, which happened on October 31st, 2008. Bitcoin wasn't released yet. Smart contracts and the idea of them wasn't a popular topic whatsoever. Yet Sergey registered smartcontract.com like he knew they were coming, and coming in a big way, something only Satoshi would know. And if you didn't know, when Satoshi left and disappeared into the ether, he said some very telling things. According to this blog on his disappearance, Satoshi had continued to email with select number of developers, including Gavin, Marty, and Mike Hearn. In late April, Hearn politely asked how involved Satoshi intended to be moving forward. Are you planning on rejoining the community at some point, or is your plan to permanently step back from the limelight? Satoshi responded, "I've moved on to other things. It's in good hands with Gavin and everyone." And then Satoshi's final emails went to Marty, whom Satoshi asked to take full ownership of the Bitcoin.org website. And he said, "I've moved on to other things, and probably won't be around in the future." Moving on to other things like smart contracts and decentralized Oracle networks. But what about coding style? Everyone should know Bitcoin was originally coded in C++. Was Sergey a C++ advocate, especially around the time Bitcoin was created and released? Well, actually, yes. On the website codeproject.com, there was a topic posted with the title, Sealing Classes in C++. And guess who replied to the topic with their own input on sealing classes in the language? As we can see, a Sergey, who replied, "Just make the base's default constructor private and you'll gain the same feature." And hovering on their name, we can likely confirm that this is Sergey Nazarov, as they have a Russian flag on their profile. Sergey is of Russian descent. From this detailed Sergey, we can see it says, Sergey Nazarov is an online entrepreneur from Russia. Now, why is it important that Sergey is from Russia? Well, in June of 2020, Cointelegraph put out an article that revealed early Bitcoin code from 2009 that Satoshi wrote and published was done so using a Russian proxy. Below in the article, we can see it says this about the proxy. We did find a user named Sergey posting reviews of hotels in Vietnam in December 2008 and January 2009, logging into the site with the same proxy as Satoshi. The same Russian proxy Satoshi was using was posting under the name Sergey and posting about hotel reviews in Vietnam. Now, if you didn't know, Vietnam is a popular vacation destination for Russians during their cold winters, which the post was done during winter. But there is also this suspicious piece of evidence. A Tiffany Hayden on Twitter back in 2019 let us know. She said, in 2007, before Bitcoin was born, the websites bitcoin.com and sergeysmartcontract.com were using IPs in the same block, which both came from Interserver Inc. Sergey and Satoshi using the same proxies, logging in the same IPs. But then there is this. The time Sergey may have let it slip that he was Satoshi during an interview with Anthony Pompliano. Yep, the memorable slip-up, which happened during a live talk back in October of 2020. Let's listen in.
And I'm after 7 years of developing smart contracts and 10 years in the, well, 10 years, well, a number of years. In any case, a number of years in the blockchain industry, you basically see
7 years developing smart contracts and 10 years in blockchain. 10 years in the blockchain industry means that Sergey was active in the space since the inception of Bitcoin. And you may have noticed how he struggled to keep up with his speech after he revealed such precious information. What about this? Later in 2020, Sergey was on an online panel for the Ethereal Summit, in which someone posted in the comments for Sergey to secretly signal that he was Satoshi, which he did. Let's watch now.
Sergey, if you are a saint,
so it's been just like this wild ride.
Take a drink out of your mega mug
for quite a while. The thing that I think we are not doing super well yet is kind of reaching most of the people on the planet. Right? So
we text a drink here. He takes a drink with the next 30 seconds or minute. Hold!
And so
he's looking. Yes! That's all real!
Engaged with Web3 so far. And we got to get that to billions. And that's sort of the next.
Yep, someone asked in the comments, if Sergey is SN, Satoshi Nakamoto, take a sip out of your mug within the next 30 seconds. Within 5 seconds, Sergey decided to take a nice sipperoo out of his mug. Coincidence, or was he letting the world know he is SN? And finally, there is this one. Back in May of 2021, Sergey was on the Lex Fridman Podcast, and Lex straight up asked him if he was Satoshi. Let's watch now.
Let me ask you this question. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? There's quite a few people who suggest that person is you. So, is it you?
No.
Who do you think it could be?
I don't know who it is. I think if I had to guess, it's probably a group of people, some of which might not even be around anymore.
Wait, didn't he just deny he was Satoshi? How does that prove anything, Tyler? Well, let's just pay attention a little closer and look beyond the surface details.
Let me ask you this question. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? There's quite a few people who suggest that person is you. So, is it you?
No.
Who do you think it could be?
I don't know who it is.
Sergey, with his finger taps, was doing a Morse code, and Morse coded SN, as in Satoshi Nakamoto. SN Sergey Nazarov equals SN Satoshi Nakamoto, I think I make a pretty strong case. And I'm personally glad you moved on to other things, Satoshi. The world needed you for more than just Bitcoin. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.